This happened when I was 21, and it's the reason I never explore abandoned buildings
Back in 21,
anymore. I was living in Phoenix, Arizona, working part-time at a small electronics store in a dying shopping mall. The place was already half empty. Most of the stores had closed years earlier, and the remaining ones were barely hanging on. Our manager sometimes sent employees to the storage area behind the mall to pick up old boxes or equipment. One night near closing time, he asked me if I could grab some extra display stands from the back storage corridor. I had never been there before. He handed me a key card and said, "Just follow the hallway behind the service doors. It's a bit confusing, but you'll find the storage rooms." At first, it didn't seem like a big deal. I pushed open the heavy metal door behind our shop and stepped into a long hallway lit by flickering fluorescent lights. The air smelled stale, like old carpet and dust. The hallway stretched farther than I expected. The walls were painted a dull yellow color, and the carpet had this weird repeating pattern that made the place feel almost hypnotic. I walked for maybe a minute before I reached a corner, then another corner, then another. The weird thing was how quiet it was. Malls are usually noisy even after closing, but back here it felt like the sound was being swallowed by the walls. My footsteps sounded strangely loud. I kept walking, expecting to see storage rooms or doors. Instead, the hallway just kept going, more turns, more identical corridors. After a while, I realized something unsettling. Every hallway looked exactly the same yellow walls, same patterned carpet, same humming fluorescent lights. I checked my phone for the time, 8:47 p.m. I had been walking for almost 10 minutes. That didn't make sense. The storage area couldn't be this big. I turned around, planning to go back. But when I reached the corner I thought I came from, it didn't look familiar anymore. The hallway looked slightly different. Different stains on the carpet, different light flickering overhead. That's when I started to feel uneasy. I kept walking faster, trying to retrace my steps. But the hallways just kept branching off. Left, right, another corner. The place felt like a maze. Eventually I heard something, footsteps, very faint. At first I thought it was an echo of my own, but then I stopped walking. The footsteps kept going. Somewhere far down another corridor, slow, heavy. I called out, "Hello?" No answer. The footsteps stopped too. For a moment, everything went completely silent. Then, they started again. Closer this time. My stomach dropped. "Hey!" I called again, still no response. Just those slow footsteps, moving somewhere through the maze of hallways. I suddenly realized something terrifying. Whoever that was, wasn't trying to find me. They were just walking, like they knew exactly where they were going. I started moving quickly now, turning random corners, hoping to find the exit. The lights buzzed overhead, the carpet muffled my steps. Then I heard something that made my heart pound. A door slamming somewhere in the distance. Then, running footsteps. Now they were definitely closer. I didn't wait. I started jogging down the hallway, turning corners as fast as I could. My phone GPS didn't work down there. No signal, just endless yellow hallways. Then I turned one last corner and finally saw something different. A red exit sign. I almost ran full speed toward it. The door led outside behind the mall near a loading dock. I burst through it and slammed it shut behind me. For a few seconds, I just stood there breathing heavily. Then I heard something on the other side of the door. A slow knock, 3 times. I didn't wait to see who it was. I ran all the way back around the building to the front entrance. When I told my manager what happened, he looked confused. He said the storage corridor was only about 100 feet long. Just one hallway, no maze. I quit that job 2 weeks later. But sometimes I still think about those hallways, because the worst part wasn't getting lost. It was realizing someone else was already down there, walking around like they lived in that place. This happened when I was 24, and it's the reason I never work late in empty office buildings anymore. I worked IT support for a small marketing company in Chicago. Our office was located on the 7th floor of a pretty old building downtown. Most employees left by 6 p.m., but one night our server went down, and I stayed late trying to fix it. By the time I finished, it was already past 10 p.m. The building was basically empty. As I was packing up my laptop, the security guard called the office phone. He said the internet router in the basement might need to be reset, so I took the elevator down. The basement level looked completely different from the rest of the building. Low ceilings, yellowish fluorescent lights, long empty corridors lined with utility doors. It looked more like a storage maze than part of an office building. I found the router room pretty quickly and reset it. But when I came back out, something felt wrong. The hallway looked slightly different. I could have sworn I came from the left. But now there were two identical corridors. Both looked exactly the same. Same walls, same carpet, same lights. I picked one and started walking. After a minute, I turned a corner, then another, then another. That's when I realized I hadn't seen the elevator yet. The place was way bigger than it should have been. I checked my phone. No signal, typical for basements. As I kept walking, I noticed something strange. Some of the lights were flickering, and in the distance, I thought I heard someone talking, very quietly, like two people whispering. I slowed down and listened. The voices stopped. Then I heard footsteps. Fast ones. Like someone had suddenly started moving. "Hello?" I called out. No answer. The footsteps disappeared. Now I felt really uneasy. Why would anyone else be down here this late? I turned another corner and suddenly froze. At the far end of the hallway, I saw someone standing there, just a silhouette under a flickering light. They were completely still, watching me. I waved and said, "Hey, do you know where the elevator is?" No response. Then slowly, they stepped backward into the darkness of another corridor. That's when my gut told me something was very wrong. I turned around and started walking quickly in the opposite direction. But after a few seconds, I heard footsteps behind me. Fast ones. I didn't even look back. I started running, turning random corners. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely think. Then finally I saw something familiar, the elevator doors. I sprinted toward them and slammed the call button. The footsteps behind me were getting closer. The elevator doors opened. I jumped inside and hit the button for the lobby. Just before the doors closed, I saw someone turn the corner at the end of the hallway. A man, running straight toward the elevator. The doors shut just in time. When I reached the lobby, the security guard looked surprised. He said I looked like I had seen a ghost. When I told him about the man in the basement, he frowned. Then he said something that still creeps me out. There's not supposed to be anyone else in the building tonight. This happened when I was 19, and it's the reason I always double-check hotel floors before booking a room. My friend Jake and I were driving across Nevada during a road trip to California. It was around midnight when we stopped at a cheap roadside hotel outside Reno. The place looked old but decent enough. The clerk gave us a room on the 3rd floor. When we stepped out of the elevator, the hallway felt strange. The lights were dim, the carpet had this weird yellow pattern, and the hallway seemed unusually long. Our room was near the end. As we walked, I noticed something weird. The hallway kept branching into other hallways, like a grid. Jake joked that the place looked like a maze. At first we laughed about it, but after dropping our bags in the room, Jake realized he left his charger in the car, so we walked back out into the hallway. And that's when things started getting weird. The hallway didn't look the same anymore. The turn we came from seemed different. We walked left, then right, but we couldn't find the elevator. We kept passing identical doors, same carpet, same lights. Jake even said, "Dude, didn't we already pass this painting?" The hallway seemed endless. Then we heard something, a door opening somewhere behind us. Followed by footsteps, we turned around but didn't see anyone. The footsteps kept coming though, slow, steady. Jake whispered, "Someone's there." We started walking faster. The footsteps sped up too. That's when we realized whoever it was following us. We turned a corner and suddenly saw the elevator. We rushed inside and hit the lobby button. Just before the doors closed, I saw a man walk into the hallway we had just left. He was wearing a maintenance uniform, but he wasn't looking at us. He was staring down the hallway, like he was waiting for someone else. The next morning, we asked the clerk about the weird hallways. She looked confused and said something that still gives me chills. There's only one hallway on the 3rd floor.